Strengthening your bond. How mindfulness transforms you and your marriage. That's the conversation we'll have today on our second episode of Self Love Monday. Welcome. I'm Ron Simplified Myers, your host. Now, cultivating mindfulness involves developing an awareness of the present moment and creating a deep connection within yourself. Mindfulness is the practice of intentionally paying attention to the present moment in a non-judgmental way. It can help you become more aware of your own thoughts, emotions, and sensations. So in the context of our talk today on Self-Love Monday, mindfulness will enhance your success in your understanding of yourself, and of course that filters into your marriage because of the several benefits it can bring. It can enhance communication by promoting active listening and empathy. And by being fully present in the moment, you can better understand your own needs, your own desires, and your own concerns. This in turn will be a practice that you will be able to carry into your marriage, and that will create a stronger emotional connection and deepen your intimacy. Now here's a few tips you can practice. Number one, mindful communication with yourself. Now practice active listening by giving your full attention to your thoughts. Now some of you have heard me talk about this before, that you could do a practice where you listen to your thoughts and you go, if it's a negative thought, it gets a point. If it's a positive thought, it gets a point. And I tell people you can do this for 30 seconds to figure out where your thought processes are. Do you live in the negative arena? Do you live in the positive arena? Now, I said 30 seconds. You could do a minute. But most people, within the first 5 to 10 seconds, you're going to figure this out because you go, that was negative? Oh, wow, that was negative. That one, maybe, well, that could have been. And eventually you'll say, ooh, 5 negatives, 1, well, kind of positive. And you'll realize that's the world in which we live in because that's how you've been trained. So what I want you to do is avoid interrupting or formulating responses in your mind while this conversation is taking place. Instead, I want you to focus on understanding the logic and being open to other avenues as these thoughts come in. Trust me, your mind will give you a ton of options if you stay open. Now, mindful presence. This means you have to actually set aside dedicated time to spend without distractions. I've heard, Robert Kiyosaki make the comment. He says, what do you do for homework? In other words, what do you do at home when you're away from work? Because most people spend that time watching different TV shows, soap operas, whatever, things that will never get you to where you say you want to be in your life. We want to change that. And in this case, we're saying we want to actually set aside some time without distractions, put away electronic devices, and actively engage in communications with yourself. Now, I know some of you have heard only crazy people talk to themselves. Well, as my aunt told me one time, we all a little crazy. And the truth is, we're talking to ourselves all day, every day. And guess what? There's nothing wrong with it. It's the way that we rationalize our decisions. What I'm just telling you to do is consciously be aware of it. Pay attention to the present moment, the sensations. Exactly how you feel, the emotions that arise. This is the time when you'll be able to become better aware of where the thoughts are leading you. Closer or taking you further away from the desired life you say that you want. Now, I've heard, Esther Hicks, that says, if you're connected with your source or if you're headed in the right direction, however you choose to look at this. She says, by your feelings, by your emotions. She says, if you're ecstatic, if you're on top of the world, if you're just floating on clouds, you're connected. And the further you get from that connection tells you you're going in the wrong direction. Does that make sense? When I heard that, I was like, wow, that is true. Either you're connected, which means you're at the top, you're feeling on top of the world, and anything else means you're moving away. The question is, how far away have you moved? So that's why we want to take a closer look so that we can figure out the desired life and move closer to it. And this takes us to the next one, which is gratitude and appreciation. Man, this takes practice because we're in a world that preaches and teaches you negativity. But what we want to learn to do is cultivate gratitude. and express appreciation for your own qualities, actions, and contributions. I know there may be times you look at things that you did and you tear yourself down for those folks. Look at those as ways that you've learned how to become the better version of yourself. What I want you to do is regularly acknowledge and celebrate you. See, because the world will rarely do it. So think about this. If you don't do it, if you don't take the time to celebrate yourself, then it will actually become absent in your life. And the truth is, the better you feel about yourself, the better person you become in your life. And of course, as we talked about earlier, that will transform inside of your marriage. Now we want to talk about this non-judgment. Now practice accepting you as you are without judgment. Folks, I know this one is tough because, again, the environment in which we brought up in. Recognize that everyone has strengths and weaknesses. And the current way that you respond to life is based on your past teachings and beliefs that you've taken on. Now, this practice of time with yourself is allowing you to become to grips with this reality and to create new and self-growing beliefs that will move you toward the better life that you say that you desire. Again, practice non-judgmenting. Because this one, we love to tear ourselves down. And folks, how do you move forward if you feel bad about yourself? You got to learn to love, and that's the reason for the Self-Love Monday is we're trying to teach you, you got to learn to love you some you. Because again, if you don't, how in the world do you expect the world to love someone who doesn't even love themselves? Think about that. That's why that takes us to the next one, which is actually self-care. Prioritize self-care. Self-love to ensure your own well-being. Take care of you. This allows you to show up fully in your life, and this growth will become more present in your life. And ultimately, as we keep saying, it'll show up in your marriage. More importantly, the happier you are, the more you start to truly enjoy this thing we call life. So remember that cultivating this mindfulness is an ongoing practice that requires patience and commitment. It contributes to a more fulfilling and harmonious life, and it'll build an understanding, compassion, and a deeper connection with yourself. So by taking care of yourself, your marriage, family, friends, everyone will benefit by you becoming a better version of yourself. So what I want you to do is practice this mindfulness. Take time out, listen to the thoughts. The better you get at this, and without the judging, without tearing ourselves down, which we know the world will do that. So we don't need to practice tearing ourselves down because they'll do it for us. We just have to become better at communicating with ourselves, looking at our past, saying this is based on things that happened in the past. Is it still working for me today? That's one of the things that I have a challenge with in our culture when people say this is the way it's always been. What does that have to do with the present moment? If we live by the way things have always been, we would still be riding horses or we would still be walking everywhere. The reality is life changes, and we have to get better at understanding that and go within ourselves and listen to those thoughts and say, are they serving me or not? And if they are, then stay with them. And if they're not, it's time for us to start practicing self-love, forgiveness, empathy, appreciation, those kinds of things. And let's move towards a better feeling about ourselves, because how you feel about you is how you show up in the world. And I want you to love you some you, and you'll hear me continue to say that, because that's the best gift you can give to the world. And as you know, it ain't right, it ain't wrong, it is my opinion. Now I look forward to talking to you guys on Thursday, which we go into relationship building, and that's specifically on relationship building, as Monday is for our self-love, which ultimately will turn into the self-building of our marriage. But we got to get us taken care of. That's why we're doing that on Monday, to work on us, which in turn will transform that into our building of our marriage. So again, as you guys know, if you're not having fun, you should be doing something else. I will talk to you guys on Thursday. Take care. Bye-bye.